From Rogersville, the ocean train runs north to Matapedia, where you can connect with the Chaleur and travel along the southern shores of the Gaspé Peninsula. Tucked between Nouvelle and Carleton is Parc Nimiguasha, recently added to the list of World Heritage Sites. This is the Prince of Miguasha, the fossilized fish that helped paleontologists understand the evolution from fish to amphibian. Almost 400 million years ago in the Devonian period, there were no amphibians, no reptiles or mammals. When the transition from water to land occurred, it left behind, right here, evidence of each stage of that remarkable development.
It's a paleo ecosystem that has been preserved. We have the fish, we have the fern, we have the invertebrate, we have scorpions, we have water scorpions, we have traces of worms. So the whole ecosystem is buried in Miguasha, and it's only 8 kilometers long. So can you imagine, of all the surface of the earth, 8 kilometers only of Miguasha, we comprehend how a fish evolved into a tetrapod. So we're still looking for an animal with a 5-finger hand or even 6-finger. I wouldn't mind the 6th one, but it has to have legs, walking on land.
Guarding the eastern end of the Gaspé Peninsula is Percé Rock, a great block of limestone rising 86 meters out of the sea. Nearby on Bonaventure Island lives the world's largest colony of gannets.
We're talking about a bird brain, but a very smart bird brain with a little computer that knows exactly where it's nesting around these 60,000 gannets. While they're flying in, they'll call, and the one that's sitting on the nesting site will answer. And for us, it's all the same, rah, 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 continually. But for them, it's different patterns of calling, so even the neighbor gets to know who's coming in.
Parc National Forillon stands at the tip of the Gaspé Peninsula.
We have a very popular event here that we've been doing for 17 years now. It brings people into direct contact with what's living in the sea in Forillon. We dive for the public who stays on the beach, and we go and pick up specimens that live to about 100 meters from the shore, and bring back these specimens to aquaria that are on the beach. An aquarium for every group, and the naturalist there explains what these animals are about and how they mate and how they eat and who preys on whom. We feel it's our job to build up an awareness that we don't know much about what's living in the sea around our country. Most things that we know are just concerning the species that we fish commercially, whereas all the rest of the wildlife has an importance also.
The dramatic scenery of winter in the Gaspé Peninsula attracts photographers and adventurers. Limestone cliffs plunge into the sea at Forillon. Inland, the McGarricles and the Chickjawks stand tall as eastern Canada's highest mountains. The unusual vegetation is a curious mix of boreal forest and alpine plants more often found in subarctic conditions.
For French, Canada is like a dream because of the land, because of the space. So my two friends of France come to rejoin me in Montreal. In Gaspésie, in France, is very known by an interest of tourism. So we decided to make a trip in Gaspésie, and we chose this morning because of the snow. The snow fall down this night, so it's a beautiful trip.
And for many locals and visitors, it is here in these parks that winter comes alive. Snowmobilers explore almost 7,000 kilometers of dedicated trails. And for the very daring, try scaling a wall of ice. Plenty of snow means you can ski from the end of November to mid-April. Diehards have even found snow at the top of Mont Albert in the Parc de la Gaspésie in July.
The park is mainly a wooded area, but there's about 20 summits which reach over 1,000 meters. Most of those summits are bare, so people can reach easily bare ground and with it enjoy skiing in a natural snowfield.
And at the end of the day, relax in the heart of the Parc de la Gaspésie at one of the many comfortable inns. Between the parks, you'll see a number of famous landmarks. In the spring, a flight from Gaspé takes you to the Magdalen Islands. From there, by helicopter, you reach the ice floes at the Gulf of St. Lawrence, where seal pups are spending their first few days of life.
First thing you should do when you get there is take it all in. You know, the landscape, the scenery is totally different. Your own sea ice, the noise, the wind blowing, the seals crying. Get the atmosphere first, and then start taking pictures if you want. But just enjoy the first half hour. It's worth it. It's a unique wildlife experience. It's very fantastic. You're in a nursery ground for seals. You know, nowhere else on Earth can you do something like that.
It's only possible because winter pack ice forms in the Gulf of St. Lawrence. Each year, around the end of February, thousands of pregnant harp seals haul themselves out of the water onto the ice. They'll find some roughly contoured ice that provides shelter from the frigid winds and give birth.
When they're first born, the harp seals are yellowish and very skinny. They start putting fat very rapidly. They grow about 2 kilograms per day.
The Magdalens are a relatively unknown part of Quebec. In the 16th century, Jacques Cartier wrote the first accounts of this archipelago. Along the string of 12 islands, 7 are inhabited, and most of these are connected by long, narrow sand dunes. All in all, 300 kilometers of the best beaches in Canada. La Grave is an important historic site on the islands. The town's name comes from the French word grève, which means pebbly and sandy beach. La Grave has its share of trendy cafes where you can meet the locals, les Madelinos. The Magdalen Islands have a reputation for excellent cuisine, much of it based naturally on the sea.
Ocean perch, the flounder, the cod, crab, the sea snails. Of course, all from the islands, and the vegetables too, especially in summertime.
La Grave's main street is lined with craft and souvenir shops where artists like France Pinchot are eager to talk about their work.
I take mold from natural seashells I find here on the beaches, and then with the mold I can reproduce them in sterling or in gold. One of the most popular designs are the sand dollars because it's rare to find them here, and when we find them we say it's a lucky charm, so it's always the favorite pieces for the people who visit the Magdalen Islands.
There's no shortage of nautical themes. Perhaps the most famous studio on the islands is Les Artisans du Sable, the artists of the sand.
We use only natural sands. We don't dye the sand, and we have many, many colors. We start by mixing the sand with a kind of glue, and we make blocks. And after about an hour and a half, the block is solid. And we can work on it, we can turn it on a wood lathe, we can sculpt it, like if it was a piece of wood.
The sands of the island are also turned into glass at La Méduse. Indoors and outdoors, the Magdalen Islands, Les Îles de la Madeleine, charm visitors and inspire artists with a glorious palette of colors. The Magdalene's red rock cliffs are best seen from offshore in a Zodiac. Or, if you're up to it, in a sea kayak.
We have all type of tourism, but most of the people that come here are very nature orientated, which is very good because we don't want to have big condominiums here. You know, it's a virgin place, and we want to keep it that way.
You can fly back to Gaspé and return on the Chaleur train to Matapedia for a different perspective on all the historic and cultural sites that make this peninsula so intriguing. over the trestles, through the towns, and alongside the Gulf of St. Lawrence to the junction of two great rivers, the Matapedia and the Restigouche, where some of the finest salmon in the world is caught.
Started at 12-year-old. This is my 70th summer guiding. I've been guiding on the Restigouche maybe 18 years or so, and on the Matapedia over 50 years. Most of the Americans came here first and built the camps over 100 years ago. I started guiding the president of the IEP, R.J. Cullen, John Hinman, this girl's father-in-law, and so on, and Jimmy Carter, and doctors and lawyers. We give them all the same service. If it's a girl, we give her a few more smiles.
One of these camps, Estevan Lodge, was built on the banks of the Métis River in 1886 by the controversial president of the CPR, Stephen George. He later gave the property to his niece, Elsie Reeford, who designed a magnificent garden that benefits from the unusual microclimate created by the humid air rising from the junction of the St. Lawrence and Métis rivers. Himalayan blue poppies, rhododendrons, azaleas, and gentians share space with 1,000 other indigenous and exotic species. At Jardin des Métis, spring flowers bloom long after their season has officially ended. Right where the St. Lawrence River spills into the Gulf, there are isolated refuges like Quarry and Anticosti Islands.
Quarry Island is interesting for birds, but also because of the rock formations, the monoliths that you find there.
I travel around the world and I didn't see a place, a natural place with such unusual rocks and natural place.
It also has different types of environment, like peat bog and boreal forest, so that's interesting.
And then there's Anticosti.
It's 220 kilometers long, 56 kilometers wide, you know, right in the middle of the Gulf of St. Lawrence. You have 270 people living there, 120,000 deer, about 27 salmon rivers. There's such an immense property there, and so few people and a lot of wildlife.
Here at Boreal Falls, over tens of thousands of years, this small stream has carved a fantastic canyon through the rock.